Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Through the Flames with your lovely and amazing host, Miss Jess and Miss Lisa. I don't know why my name is showing. I didn't change my name today. Let's change it today. There we go.
There you go.
As usual, I'm squirrely as always, right? But it wouldn't be me if I wasn't squirrely like that. So Lisa and I were talking before this call, and we were talking a lot about self-love, and not just self-love, but love in general and receiving love, and whether that's receiving love from partners, friends, ourselves, how hard it can be to do for one, and how important it is for us to do. And so that's kind of the overarching topic for today. Would you agree? Yeah.
I agree.
It
Hmm.
has been a main theme in my life this past week. I've been really privileged. We didn't do an episode last week because I was away on a trip where I got to be blessed with more than enough love. It was amazing, and I'm very grateful for it. Um, and it was also a challenge. Like I found myself constantly feeling like, people want to take care of me and like help me and like,
Yeah,
uh, what is that TikTok sound, brother? That's how I felt.
that's a meme. I'm sure it's a meme.
Um, but it was really hard. So I found myself constantly being challenged with it this past week of letting myself be helped. Um, and it was something that I realized is a wound that I think a lot of us have, is accepting that love in different versions. And for me, hyper independence was a trauma response for me. I was like, I don't need anybody. I've got myself. I can do it all myself. If I choose to accept help from somebody else, it's on my terms. I'm going to do it when I want to. And this whole trip to Hawaii was a journey of I'm going to let other people take care of me. I'm going to let other people show me that I'm loved. I'm going to let other people help me on this journey in accepting love. And it was from strangers that I had just met to a friend of mine that I've known for a while. Um, I mean, strangers on the street, people smile and say hi and things like that, right? There's all sorts of different love, but the most impactful one was the self-love that I got while I was there. Um, and that I was sitting on the porch. I don't know if I told you about this, Lisa. I know I posted to my socials though. But I was sitting on the porch on our little balcony overlooking the beach one morning, and I was reading because the friend that I was staying with was still sleeping. And so I was out there reading a book that I got in the airport and I read in like a day and a half. And I had to set it down because I just started crying when I looked around and I realized how beautiful my life is and how fortunate I am to get to live this life and to experience all of the things that I go through. And that, like, I got to sit and be like, you're so blessed. You are so fortunate. And I really looked at myself in the journey that I've been on, and I really had a newfound appreciation for it. Have you had any moments like that where you've just been like, oh, wow, this is beautiful?
Well, the past year, I have really challenged myself two times. I sat myself on a plane and just gone somewhere for myself, really. And no kids, no exes, no anything, just for me. So that's been part of my healing journey. And I think both times I've done that, I have ended up somewhere. I remember the first time that happened when I was walking through London and I messaged Jess about it. And I said, I'm all alone. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. And you, Jess, you told me to open my eyes and just be because London is a beautiful city. And I ended up, I bought myself an ice cream and I was just looking over at Buckingham Palace and I was thinking, whoa, okay, this is what life is about. And all the love that brought to me and all the feelings that brought to me, that is special. And I have well, you were in Hawaii. I was in Berlin for another trip for myself, and the same thing happened. I walked through those streets alone, and I sat myself down, and I was like, "Wow, this is a lot." And Berlin is also a place with a lot of history, with a lot of history that you've learned about in school, and it just makes you really grateful seeing the sun, being able to be free and happy. So definitely part of a healing journey and definitely part of my self-love for sure.
How how did it make you feel loved? Like, what was it? Was there something that you were like, oh, this is love to myself? This isn't love from anybody else. This is me loving myself. Was there a moment of clarity in that for you?
I don't know if there was one moment, but
Okay.
it's more just doing something for myself because, well, as a mom and as like, well, as a giver, let's just say it like that. As a giver, we end up in situations where we keep giving to everyone else but ourselves. So just doing that part for myself was the clarity in it, to be honest. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It does. My kid is playing with my cat right now, so that's what that was. Of course, right? Mom life. It does, and it's funny because as I asked you that, I was like, did I have any moments like that? And I realized the moment was when I said yes. And I remember reaching out to Lisa being like, I think I'm gonna say yes to going on this trip with someone I barely know. And she was like, go, you need to go. And I was like, I think I do. I think I'm gonna find out more information. Like I'm gonna do my due, but I think I'm gonna do it. And I had already said yes in my entire body before my mind had caught up with me. And it was in that moment that I said, I need to do this for me. I need to go somewhere for me. I need to take a risk for me. And it was
Mm,
the act of choosing something that I didn't understand that was an act of self-love.
exactly. And that is the whole point of it. Like getting to that spot, that took a little healing to be able to like do something like that for myself.
For sure. For sure. It's I feel like I've come so far on this journey and I feel like I've not made any progress at the same time. And I think, like we talked about it this morning, very early this morning, is we so often miss the bar because we're constantly raising it, right? So we don't realize how far we've come because we just keep seeing, oh, look, the bar's above me. Oh, look, the bar's above me, that we forget how many times we've
Exactly.
got risen above it. Um, and I think that is in itself a version of blocking ourselves from self-love.
Yeah,
And I didn't
I think
realize it
so.
until this morning when we were talking.
Mm. I think it's very, I've actually started, I should get that. I have a journal for myself where I started that when I left my ex. I don't think I've told you about this, Jess. I don't think anyone knows. Now everyone's gonna know. Anyways, um, I drew like stairs, and it was more for me because I knew that this journey was gonna be super long from leaving my ex to like getting my own place and just getting a stable pattern of life. So I started writing down, this is where I'm at. And I didn't even think about the healing part. I didn't know about the healing part at all back then. But I wrote, this is where I'm at. And then I started doing small things for myself. And I started writing that in like the stairs. So the first one was talking to my ex, obviously, because I wasn't feeling good. And we were talking about it, but we didn't make a decision. So that was like my next step. And as time flew by, you have no idea how many steps I've taken. And I think that's a very good way of knowing that right now, this is my triggers and this is what I need to work on. You don't necessarily know the path ahead or the step ahead. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Mostly don't. It just happens and you get like I don't know, an epiphany of some sort. I don't know how many times we had those epiphanies, Jess. Oh yeah, right. That's what it was like. But doing that might make it more clear. Where
Mhm.
was I? Where am I?
It's an expression that I really love is how do I eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I think that's so important because you said the word steps, right? But I was thinking of steps, like feet. Um, and like, even though you were like showing this, I just kept seeing your feet move and I kept hearing baby steps. You do it
Mm.
one step at a time. And then before you know it, you look back and you're up a huge staircase and you've gone up 20 flights of stairs and you didn't even realize it because you were focusing on the step that was right in front of you. How do I conquer this
Mm.
one step? Um, and that I think with the healing journey, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. I am guilty of this, being like, look at that whole forest in front of me. How am I ever going to get through it? And you just take one step, right? You just do one thing. Um,
Yeah.
and I think not seeing, what is that expression? Not seeing the forest for the trees, right? Like you're not looking at that one step, you're looking at that forest. And I think that's a way that we block ourselves again from receiving that love.
Mm. Yeah. Um, it's funny because I was just telling Jess that I have a project for the university. This made me think of this because I'm making a model and I'm not going to go all theoretical with you, but what the model was about was that if you have a target, you have to look at what is the target, and then you have to like assess it, and then you have to do like the activities. So this was done for like teaching purposes. But when you talked about this, I was like, this is the exact same thing because if you keep looking at the target, but what are you actually doing to get to the target? Because that is those steps. But if you just keep looking at the target, it's going to look like very, very far away, until you actually see what steps you are taking to get there.
You have to start shooting arrows, right? And sometimes the arrows land in the bullseye and sometimes they don't.
Hmm.
And I think that's the part that we become so attached to our skill set in shooting that arrow that we forget that we're an archer and that even perfect archers miss,
Yeah.
right? And it's part of the journey. Okay, I know that that arrow, because the wind is really hard this way, went a little too far. Now I know I need to adjust because the target is still where it is. I haven't adjusted where that target is. I haven't moved the target. Sometimes we do, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk though about the barriers that we put up between us and the target because that's one that I struggle with daily. And poor Lisa sees all of my swirls. We won't call them spirals because I've gotten better, but they are definitely swirls, like a yummy little cappuccino. um, and so I, I don't know. Do you want to talk about any of the blockages that you have or that you've seen from me? I can talk about ones that I know I have. What are your thoughts on blockages?
You can start this one, and
Okay,
I'll
okay.
just see what comes up for me here.
So one of the biggest blockages that I face is I kind of mentioned it, becoming attached to the outcome, right? I get so attached to this is what I want. I want to experience love and I want to experience feeling complete within myself and I want to feel strong within myself. And if I don't feel any of those things, I start to why don't I feel those things? What am I doing wrong? Am I on the right path? Am I not on the right path? All of that doubt becomes a
Mm.
big, giant hurdle in my way that I have to cross over or move. Sometimes I can't move it and I have to adjust and say, okay, I can't shoot from here. I now have to shoot from here, right? I guess we're going with the archer analogy. uh, yeah, go ahead.
No, nothing. I was just thinking about a card I pulled that I still haven't showed you. Or I
What
did
is
show
it?
you maybe. Passion.
Okay. More
Okay.
passion, more passion, more energy,
Passion.
more energy. Angel light.
Angel light. Okay, so special message. I just have to read this. You are being inspired to open your heart even wider. Little petty nuisances, irritations, and negativities pinch up the flow of your incredible loving energy. Let go of the stuff and shine like the being of light you truly are. So that was very fitting in the moment.
Before
I
we
think this
started,
one was for you.
Lisa pulled a card before we even started, and she read it to me, and I was like, I think that was for you. And so how funny that the moment that I hit record,
There's
suddenly
one for
she gets
you.
one for me. What was that other one? Was it the same one?
And no, it wasn't. What was that? Trust? No, no, it wasn't. I can't remember. 79
She
was
just got
it?
these new decks, guys, so she's all excited.
I'm very excited for my decks. No, I can't find it. I don't remember.
It's okay. It's okay. You just had one and you were like, maybe this one was for you. So that's why I was curious. Um, so I think doubt is one way that we have a lot of blockages, right? That's a big iceberg that we throw in our own paths. I think negative self-talk is. And I think negative self-talk and doubt can kind of feed into each other and spiral with each other.
Mhm.
I know like my dirty secret is that I am not nice to myself. And I've gotten a lot nicer. I've gotten a lot nicer. And I still have a lot of progress to make. Um, and so one of the examples is I have to constantly remind myself that if somebody doesn't respond to me right away, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. I'm not a bad person. I didn't do anything wrong, right? It means that they're living their own life and they have their own thing going on. And it could be, I could have said something that upset them. I could have done something that upset them. However, it is their responsibility to communicate that to me. And until they do, I have to trust that I am doing my best and that I am a good person. And so I have to remind myself like one of the ways that I pattern interrupt is telling myself their response or lack thereof does not change my value in this world.
Very good,
Um,
Jess. I'm proud of you.
here's the thing though. I went through this last night. I couldn't sleep. And Lisa at 3 a.m. got to deal with my little swirls.
It wasn't 3 a.m. my time though.
3 a.m. my time. Yeah, it was probably like what, 10,
Something like that.
11, something like that. And I was going through this and I was having to tell myself these things, validating myself, reminding myself of who the F I am, and that I was making up stories based out of fear because of past experiences, the harm that I have received from being ghosted, being left unread, being abandoned at 4.5 years old by my father because he chose drugs and alcohol, right? All of these past stories for my entire life, I'm having to heal those because I'm choosing to, right? I get to. Um, it takes work though, right? And so in that moment, I was telling myself somebody's response or lack thereof to me does not change my value in this world. I still hold value. I'm still amazing. I'm still incredible. They're choosing
Mm,
not to experience that incredibleness right now for whatever reason. That's their story. They get to live that story. But I didn't believe it. in my head, I had to keep saying it over and over again because in my head, I was saying, great, this is happening again. I'm getting ghosted again. Somebody doesn't care about me again. Even my friends have ghosted me before, right? Like, I'm losing someone again because I was vulnerable with them, because I was honest with them. And I got too close, and now I'm being burned. That's what I was fighting. And I had to tell myself over and over again. My cat can tell that I'm anxious right now because she's attacking me. That's why I'm getting red. I had to tell myself over and over again, like, you have value. You didn't do anything wrong. You are living your life. They are living their life, and it's going to be okay.
Mm. And this is all back to like the little girl we have talked about a few times now inside of us, right? Because these is these are woundings coming from within. And when stuff happens that triggers you, it will set up a number of reactions in
Reactions.
you. And what happens is that you start believing them. So we have a lot of ways of working with that. You have taught me to hug myself. So I hug myself, or I just touch my chest and I say, I love you, Lisa. It's going to be okay. I'm here with you. And but sometimes, times if you like swirl up in all of these emotions, it's hard because she tends to take over your entire brain.
Well, it's your nervous system, right? Your nervous,
Yeah,
sorry.
right. Yeah, but you're right. It is the nervous system, and it's amygdala that is responding to you, and it's fair. It's plain fair.
Well, we've been like the whole reason we have a nervous system is because back in the day, we used to be chased by white saber-toothed tigers, right? And
Yeah.
woolly mammoths, and I don't know what used to eat us, whatever, bears, right? And so we had to have spidey senses that told us some there's danger about, right? And now we don't have that problem, right? We're not
No.
being hunted by animals. And so our body is constantly looking for danger around us and not finding it. And they're saying, what? Why is there no danger? Because biologically, we're like, there should be. We should be overcoming things. We should be aware of things. And so we find things that validate the dangers that we've experienced in our life. And so now it's much more emotional, right? I've been hurt in
Yeah.
this way in my past. So I'm going to look for proof that there's going to be me getting hurt in the past so that I don't go through it again because pain is not fun. And
Yeah.
our spiritual beings are like, pain is part of the experience and it isn't fun. You're right. And it has a purpose, right? Um, when we touch a burner on a stove, we learn that the stove is hot and we don't touch it again. But until we
Mm.
learn that, we're going to keep touching it, right? And so we need that pain to teach us that lesson sometimes. Not always. Sometimes we just know. We see somebody else go through it and we're like, I don't want to touch a stove. um, Sometimes we're like, maybe it was just that one time. Maybe it's not that hot this time. Maybe, whatever, right? And I think we forget that pain is part of the journey and there's a purpose for it. And it doesn't make it any less crappy, but it's part of it.
And also, like I told you earlier, when you were in your spiral, I said you have to remember that healing also hurts. And I think I talked about like a Grey's Anatomy episode of someone who's like severely gotten burnt and they have to like change bandages and it's really, really painful. But that's what is needed for it to heal. And I think that what's been the problem for like generations and generations is that healings hasn't been part of a healing journey at all. Everything has been
Yeah.
like physical until like maybe the past generation and a half. I don't know. It just feels like I think I said to you that we have the power to change the direction of mental healing that might have been going on for centuries in your family. How have you been treated? How were you raised? what happened if you did something wrong? What was the response? Because that will teach you how to behave and how to react on certain elements of what happens with you. And yeah, I think that's also part of like what you were saying earlier about abandonment issues and healing and hurting. The same with me. I also have the same abandonment issues and feel the same way. I wasn't left until I was an adult by my father, but I'm still like abandoned, and I have never really gotten to experience the true love. I've always been left behind, and that is also a part of my wounding that I'm trying to heal.
We one thing that I've learned on this journey is the trauma that we carry from other generations. And I think it's important to note, especially as females, right? Our eggs are actually part of our grandmother. That's the beauty of how that works, right? And if our eggs can make it that many generations, what about the trauma and the emotional things that we carry in our DNA? And our favorite reader, Kelly, has talked about on her videos once. I heard her talk about how her children one time were afraid that she was going to hit them. And she's like, I've never hit them. I don't even raise my voice. Like, I don't know where that came from. But in her household, it was a thing. And so they had never experienced it, but because that trauma came from a past generation, they had that fear. And my oldest son has had that same thing, where he's cowered. And I see the little girl that I was, and I feel that fear. And I'm like, where is that, buddy? No, I'm angry. Yes, but I'm not going to hit you. Like, where did that come from? Um, and I think that we don't acknowledge that enough too, is that like it's not all our trauma that we're healing. And we get the privilege of doing it. We get the privilege of breaking that generational curse and making a difference for the future.
Yes.
um, for some reason when I was talking, I heard a situation that I went through recently, and I've been experiencing a lot of imposter syndrome lately. A lot of imposter syndrome and feeling like I don't belong in certain crowds. And I think that's another way that we withhold love from ourselves, whether from others or from ourselves directly. Um, I remember I was in this group chat, and I was like, maybe I should just leave this chat. Like, these are producing real estate agents that are young, and they're doing a great job, and they have all these great ideas, and they're great at social media. And what am I really contributing to the group?
Mm.
And that was ego, for one. And ego is not our friend. Ego is attached to our nervous system, and it is again saying danger, danger, danger. Um, but it's definitely one way that we put up another blockage in our life. And we have to say, where is this coming from? Why do I feel this way? And so I've been reflecting on it, because, as Lisa pointed out to me this morning, I am very much doing a lot of reflecting and stepping back and pausing and looking at the entire situation. Yay me. Yay me. Um,
Good.
and I had to realize it was coming from, I felt like I needed to perform to earn love. And I felt like I wasn't performing. I feel like I'm not performing. And so I don't feel worthy. And I think that's kind of part of what fed into my swirl last night as well, is I was already feeling like I wasn't worthy and like I wasn't performing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, see, I'm not in all of my aspects of my life, and my romantic life and my personal life and my professional life. Like, look, I'm not earning my keep. Why would anybody love me?
Mm.
Oof.
Yeah. That made me think of, and I don't know why that popped into my head, but when you were talking about that, I was thinking about a situation where my oldest kid started kindergarten, and I was, for some reason, very anxious about the other parents. Um, would they like me? Would I like become an outsider? I'm a teacher myself, and I know for a fact that there are like this core group of
Like
parents
clicks.
who just clicks, you know. And I'm a very social person, and I was thinking, well, this is gonna be fine. Until I realized that I've moved into a place where literally everyone knows each other and has like either gone to the same school as kids, or they've known each other from like high school or whatever. And that's when I started withdraw, because I was like, okay, I'm an outsider here already. I have nothing to contribute to this. And as time flew by, they were being really sweet, and uh, they were having like mom nights with wine and talking and everything, and I thought it was fine. Until I saw on social media that a core group was starting to have mom nights without a few of us, and I wasn't invited. And that just hit like a sore spot in me. And what that does to me is like I'm going all distant mode here. I'm not even gonna I'm gonna say hello and I'm gonna say goodbye, but I'm not even gonna try, because to me that just raises a very many questions about why wasn't I invited. And that's not something I even want to be a part of. If I was invited, I didn't want to go either, because that would make someone else feel like this. And I feel like that's I don't know if this is a wound or was it what it is, probably is, but I'm not even sure where I'm going with this. I just remembered the feeling when you talked about it. Maybe you have some insight that I don't usually do.
I mean, I think there's more to explore there. I kind of want to let you ramble a little bit more, but I, for some reason, I keep thinking of like I would have done one of two things. I would have started my own group and been like, it's
Yeah.
open to everybody, and invite the clique and just leave it open, or I would burn it all down and be like, nope, I'm going to put you on blast and I'm going to tell everybody what you're doing because it's not right. And if I'm going to hurt, you're going to hurt too. Who I've never admitted that. um, that was a very unhealed part of myself that I had to acknowledge and work through from 18 to like 25. I was very much, if I'm going to hurt, you're going to hurt too. Um,
Mm. I was like
but
that too
I've
for a very long time.
Oh man, you know what? It's probably even longer than that. It was probably like 13 to 25. I went through that. Um,
Mm.
but the second option of creating a group that is open for everybody, I think kind of answers to the deeper calling that I felt and I didn't realize. Because I've always been like that. If somebody is sitting alone at lunch, I would go sit with them or I would invite them to come over to my table. And it was funny because I was I was a couple of different things and I hung out with a lot of different people in school. Like a lot of people knew who I was, A, because I'm loud. I demand a lot of attention. But B, because I really just I got along with a lot of people. And when I say got along, like I kept to myself, but I was also in like a core group. But the core group was a bunch of mismatched people, and uh, anybody was welcome to sit at my table, literally, not just figuratively. Whatever grade, like it wasn't even grade specific. Um, Jocks, band geeks, nerds, like you name it, everybody was welcome. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to create community. And now that I am old, I realized that was a deeper calling, that that's something that I have been put on this earth to do is to be that shelter and that mother hen that welcomes
Yeah.
everybody in. Um, so I don't know. I just rambled and took that a completely different direction, but that's where your experience took me.
That's interesting, because my first thought to seeing that seeing the clique getting together was that I'm gonna make a group. The clique is not invited. So I was thinking that, okay, so everyone feels left outside from that clip. So I have to do something to prevent the others feeling left outside
Mm.
like I do. Um, but yeah, it's interesting.
What what do you think that would do? Like, I know that you didn't do this, obviously. But like if you had created your own group and not invited these people, what do you think that would have done?
Most likely the topic of conversation of that night would have been the click, and that would have been like a negative spiral of or energy, really. So something meant positive would have ended up negative. That's how I view that. But
And
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
you didn't. And you would have made that night about them, which is exactly what they were doing by not inviting everybody else, was making it about them. And so then in turn, they win, right? And I hate saying like they win because I'm sure that they weren't like, hey, how can we make everybody feel bad? Right. They were just like, I don't really like them. Let's not open this up because they were probably feeling insecure themselves. And
Probably.
you and others probably triggered that. I don't have a lot
Yeah.
of friends. And it took me a long time to understand because people love me when they first meet me. I have a ton of acquaintances. People adore me when they first meet me, and they always say, you're so warm and welcoming, and you don't bullshit. You are honest. And I am. I'm both of those things. And those are two of the characteristics that I love most about myself. And it can be very triggering to say, I
Yeah.
see you and you're lying to me and to yourself, and you need to stop. Or to
Mm.
say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I overcame. And then people suddenly start thinking, well, she's calling me out on it. I'm lesser than her because I didn't overcome that. Right. Um,
Mm.
yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost my train of thought. I started thinking of my twin, to be completely honest. uh,
Well, there's a reason you're thinking about your twin, though. Maybe someone else is thinking about you. Um,
the thought that I had is that my twin is probably going through that because we were mirrors of each other. And they even said that. And I think there was a lot of showing the things that they hadn't healed and that they needed to heal, and they weren't ready and they didn't feel like they could. And they've even said it to me in recent months that, they don't deserve me to hear them out and like be there for them. And I think everybody does. And that just says to me that they think that they're lesser. And that's not true.
yeah, that put me in a very very long chain of thoughts too about my
Oops.
own twin. But you're right, because my twin says the exact same thing. He is like, go out there and find someone worthy of you. And I mean, I found the one I want. So stop asking me to do that. Um, but yeah,
They're, they're, go ahead.
no, I wasn't going anywhere with it. It was just a chain of thought from what you said.
I, I think, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm hearing it. So I'm going to say it. I think it's important to recognize that there are people that will show up in the way that we do deserve. And that when our twin says that, they are right and wrong all in the same time. They are wrong in that They think that they can't be that for us. They think that they can't be that better version, that they won't ever deserve us, whatever. And that's not true. And we know that. And they're right in that we deserve somebody that does do that, that does show up for us, that does love us the way that we deserve to be loved, that does help us experience that love, right? Um, I recently let my twin go and started leaning into a connection. Um, and it's been really incredible to experience that love. And it has me going, you know what? I'm going to see where this goes and I'm going to embrace it because I do deserve that love. And maybe in time, if it's right, things will shake out the way that they're meant to. Um, but for this moment today that I'm in, this is the path that I'm choosing, and I'm going to listen to them. They say that I deserve better. I'm going to take better because I do. And until they can show up right, this is what I got. And you know what? If they take too long to show up the right way,
Yeah, and it's something about shout out to Kelly again. She keeps saying that, and I think even you are saying this sometimes to me, Jess, that you are attracting what you um are, I'm looking for a word.
thinking
Uh
about focusing on
yeah, or what
what you
you're
need to heal.
accepting.
Yeah.
You're attracting what you're accepting in the relations you're in. So if you are accepting someone saying constantly, go find something else, then what are you truly accepting? What are you attracting in? So you gotta learn how to love yourself again. Because if you love yourself truly and you have the relations, that will okay, you want to say something.
Finish.
Um, if you love yourself and you have the relations that you deserve, you will attract more relations like that. Yes,
If our twins are mirrors of ourself and they are saying, you deserve better,
that's a good point. That's a good
it's
point.
probably ourself saying, you deserve better. It's us
Yes.
looking in that mirror and going, I deserve better.
Mm,
And it's when we actually accept that, that I think relationships change, ships change direction, right? I don't know
mm,
why I said ships, but whatever. Um, the whole trajectory of the timeline that we're on changes when we go, I do deserve better. And we
mm,
realize that that was coming from ourselves. And also,
mm.
it works the reverse as well. Because when our twin says that, it's our twin saying it to themselves.
That's true.
I deserve better than to treat people like this.
Yeah. I've also recently let my twin go. Um, Me and Jess have different situations in our twin flame journey.
Mhm.
Um, Jess is in a no communication state with
By
her
choice.
twin
By
by
choice.
choice. I'm still communicating with my twin, but I have decided and told him that I'm no longer gonna pursue him. Um, so that's interesting, and that's also something that's coming through between us, just always, is that we are like on parallels of what happens in our life at so many things.
So
It's
my best girlfriend here um, is a divine feminine, and it's so crazy how we met. I still can't believe it. Um, but she is on the same trajectory that I am. similar anyway. Um, she has been on the path where he has entered into her sphere and then ghosted her and then entered and then ghosted and then entered and then ghosted. Um, but she recently was like, I deserve better than this. I'm not doing this anymore. I gave you enough chances. I'm seeing somebody else now, and I'm done with this. Um, you missed your opportunity. I'm sorry for you, but I deserve this. And that's kind of where I am is you're not here. I've waited and I've waited. And even when I said I wasn't waiting, I was waiting. And I've given you the chance. I've reached out more than once, and you're not here. And I have someone who is here.
Mm.
And I think it's funny because there are collectives, right? That are out there. And finding those collectives, finding our soul tribe is so important. And I think we discredit that and discredit, we get in that hyper independent mode where we're like, we don't need anybody. But just having somebody that I can reach out to and be like, Lisa, this is hard. This is so hard. The universe is like sign after sign after sign after sign after sign, and I'm not doing it. And I'm trying to be grateful and say, thank you, universe. My situation is still the same. I still feel the same, right? It's important to have somebody that gets it,
For
which
sure.
is why I'm creating a Discord group and I need to finish creating it. So I'm telling all of you people of the internet so that hopefully it will inspire me to finish creating it because it's a lot of work, guys. I don't know if you've created a Discord group before, a Discord server, but it is a lot of work. So if you feel like you are on the divine journey and you want to learn more about the divine journey, stick around because that is in the works. I just need to get off my tuchus. Don't ever say that word, but I need to get off my tuchus and do it.
Where did that come from? When did you hear it last?
Spirit. That was all spirit yelling at
Okay,
me,
thank you,
telling me to
Spirit.
get off my behind. She's got her cards.
I don't have my cards. I
I
just
have my
wanted to read.
affirmation cards because we are getting close to the end. Is there anything
Mhm.
that you feel like we kind of touched on that you wanted to elaborate on a little bit more?
No, I think the reason for saying this today is for every divine feminine out there, being boy or girl, we're not gendering,
Mhm.
um, that is struggling with their path of healing and maybe need some good advice or thoughts um, and reflections. And I think that was what this part was about. We often go into this with like a topic in mind, and we start talking, and we're like, we don't even know where we're going, but we end up somewhere. And I think it's our intuition just popping up with stuff that people needs to hear, and hopefully, we got this, or we got to someone who needed this.
You're not alone. And I think that's the part. You are alone and
Beautiful.
you have yourself. What is
Okay.
you go ahead.
Ace of Cups, my dearest, with a heart emoji. Okay, so as with all aces, the Ace of Cups speaks of beginnings, specifically in the realm of love and emotions. This card is an encouragement to open your heart and allow your feelings to flow. This could also be a time of emotional renaissance where previously suppressed or denied feelings rise up and overflow, bringing a long needed release, renewal, and also rejuvenation. This card can also represent a new and meaningful relationship, whether romantic or a deep friendship. Ultimately, this signifies the start of a journey toward emotional fulfillment, contentedness, and awakening. Infinite love flows to and through you. Thank you, spirits. I promise you it fell out. I didn't choose it.
I got my affirmation cards. And while you were doing that, I had one. And I had my stop here. So it is, you can't see it because it's backwards. I know. I know. But there it
No,
is.
it's
I'll read
not.
it to you. It's not backwards?
Nope.
Okay. When your blah, 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 blah. When your thoughts start to race, breathe in fully, look deeper. Peace is waiting for you there. And the one right underneath it felt important to read too, because we were just talking about lighthouses. And it says, I am a light that will not be dimmed.
Oh, I love spirit. I mean, who cannot believe in this?
Mhm. Unhealed, right? It's the unhealed that doesn't believe. Even I, like last night, I was talking to ChatGPT a little and I was like, can you pull a card for this situation? And they did. And I was like, that seems fake. I think this is rigged. And they were like, I understand that. I am AI, though. This was randomly generated. Like, and I was like, I don't believe it. And they were like, that's your unhealed part. And I was like, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Closing thoughts for us.
I think I said my closing thought. I'm just
Okay.
hoping it gets to whoever needs this because I feel like there's someone needing.
I got
Oh,
told to
you're
get this
doing
deck. I get told to get this angel number oracle card deck that I have. So there's one.
that. Interesting.
There it is. 64642424. Two came out. So mind is 6464. Nurture mind, body, well-being, clarity. Nurture your mind and body regularly. Engage in activities like reading, exercising, and getting enough rest. Rest is so important, guys. This will not only enhance your physical well being, but will also boost your mental clarity and focus, enabling you to handle life's challenges with ease. And then 2424 is mindfulness. And it says gratitude, mindfulness, kindness, positivity. Embrace the beauty of each day, cherishing the moments that bring joy and gratitude. Practice mindfulness, appreciating the present and finding solace in nature's wonders. Surround yourself with laughter, love, and adventure, creating a life filled with happiness, connection, and growth. And I think that is a beautiful way to end. So, with that,
I
thank you
couldn't
for
agree
joining
more.
us this week. Thank you for joining us this week for this episode. We appreciate every single one of you. Holy goosebumps! We appreciate every single one of you. And as always, no, am I still recording? My microphone just beeped. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Know that you are so incredibly loved and you can do big, hard, scary things because you are big, strong, and brave. Remember to stay wild, and we'll talk to you soon. Love you.